Welcome. Let's see, okay? You're okay? Let's hope so. Yeah, today is the kickoff to a lovely event. A year long to finish the year and catch up for all the months when we didn't know what we didn't know. We have lots of time. No rush, right? Threats and more threats. So we're just gonna relax, hang out, and have all kinds of conversations in this live stream about people in your community, what you do all day, the future of your community. Six years. So this week, Tuesday, since Monday was a holiday, the week is Tuesday to Saturday, right? Because I consider Sunday the beginning, the first day of the week. So that's how I schedule anyway. Sunday, the first day of the week for future notice. I should type it in. Oops, the paper. I posted what it was. It said there's a secret meeting. I have to pay $10 to get in. I would like the same set of rules, wouldn't you? For all the buildings, since they keep going over the leases and how they're different and the same. So, if you can make money, I'd like to make money. If you can smoke in here, I'd like to smoke in here. That seems fair, doesn't it? Everybody with the same rules. A lot of things would be less confusing, right? Get back to the live stream. So, like I said, let me go and let's go over everything that I had. The whole agenda and plan. To make sure I get everything. Before I read it. Well, this would be the YouTube channel. This would be the live stream that you're watching, right? So youtube.com/@Amy's Regal Life. That's where you find all the videos and live streams to watch. All the help on narcissistic abuse recovery. So it says, join me for the remainder of the year in mourning 6 years of life taken in the name of fame, power, control, money, revenge, and narcissistic abuse. As you know, I opened the business in 2019, right? Amy Seukeran, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Life Coach, Canada. Okay, so the event kickoff, that's this week, October 14th to the 18th, till Saturday. Then the next week, October 19th to 25th, trauma and retraumatization. The week after that, October 26th to November the 1st, recovery. Then November 1st to the 30th, planning our holidays. Then December 1st to the 31st, last month, New Year. So those are the general topics. So for the first week, why I should help. The second week, many sources can cause you to fall back into old habits. The third week, how we can help ourselves. And then for November, for some people, it is the best time of year, for some, the worst, planning our holidays. And then December, finding your new year and what you learned. So it's pretty straightforward if you read the posts. They're posted everywhere, right? All social media, you should see them. It says mourning at the top. That's the one. If you have any questions, you can come onto the Zoom or you can come onto the live streams and ask them. When you had options for emailing me, you didn't use them. You decided to abuse my phone and my text messages. When you could comment and ask questions on Instagram, what did you do? You misused that, so you can't comment anymore. You can ask questions on Instagram. Why can't you ask questions on Instagram and Twitter? Why does it bother you so much that there was a potluck in the community center? Well, it seems to be all fraud, and I have no idea what you're doing using my name. That's why I have a big problem. I'm running an actual business and would like to rent a community center for actual events. Do you understand that? Is that clear and simple enough? Why I have a problem with it? I didn't think I'd need to explain this to people who run businesses in the community center and the food bank and lotteries with actual money and taxes involved. But hey, well, do you think the Malton Black Development Association was a real charity, a real association for 6 years when I posted all of those and read their mission statement? Seeing as how I am a nonprofit owner, I have my own nonprofit organization. Did you read their mission statement? What they are, what they do in Malton? Did you see the dates? That's a coincidence that the same day they got a brand new look. I ended up at SHIP from Malton, from the community center. Where was I? I told you I don't believe in coincidence. Yeah, they're sitting here laughing and joking. Until what? How many times? Their license says revoked when you look them up. The charity license. How long ago did I post that? Then you're sitting here telling me, texting me about what? All kinds of racist, disgusting, hateful comments? And? And? Yeah, I want to understand and. For the future of my business, my name in Malton and all its community. And. This live stream isn't for children. Why did you silence me? If you're disturbing people and making mean, hateful comments, I put you in timeout. That's what you do to children, right? You put them in timeout. That's what I did to you. I put you in timeout. Over and over, right? Victims of abuse. Which part of your comments don't you see as abusive? I would like to know that when you come on here commenting. Let's talk about financial abuse. Since we're talking about 6 years, what happened in Malton and what Malton did while I was homeless. What happened in 2019 in Malton? What happened in 2020 in Malton? 2021? 2022? 2023? I came back in what, October 2023? So now we're in October 2025, 2 years later after that. So what's different in Malton now? What's happening now in Malton? Well, what were the issues and problems in 2019? COVID was 2020. How many people have ever stayed in a homeless shelter? How did you get in? Did you call them? Did you call the intake number or did you just show up? What if we go by year? We're going to skip 2019 and go to COVID 2020 since you mentioned it. How many people lost their jobs? How many people lost their house? Yeah, they're going to enjoy. They still don't understand I'm in apartment 47, right? Actual police calls. They called the police. I'm recording their children. I have narcotics in my unit, right? They're actually sitting here again, texting my phone telling me what? You want what? You want to see what? When I go and sit on the rock and I actually, like I said, right, walk through the parking lot one day, They're gonna what? This is all on record now, right? Every tenant in the building, minimum, this building, much less all four, the same lease. Now let's talk about your businesses. This is such a joke. You've been making money off of everything, taking it from me. Malton Black Development Association. You had coloring pages, affirmations. You want to talk about a sick joke? How many years did you teach inclusion? What does that mean? Why don't you explain to everyone now why you were teaching inclusion at the same time you're developing Black people? No, I don't understand. So can you help us? 6 years? If you go through all of their Instagram, half of those events I was sitting right here, right? If you compare them to what I was doing, what is going to happen? Since 2023, where it says they got a new look. Yeah, they just got Canva. Did you see that? Why are you laughing? The difference? I haven't been able to rent the community center, the churches. How many times did you go over this? You've been taking advantage, renting all the schools, using the churches, using religion. Nobody can get into rent anywhere. Same with Victory Hall, right? City of Mississauga, Peel region. Nobody can hold anything, do anything anywhere. You're sitting here laughing at what? Who's supposed to let you continue doing this? Do you not find that the least bit racist when you have a post that says Black-owned businesses looking for vendors in Malton? Did I misread that? Yeah, I can't rent any locations. I'm too poor. Just remember that. Amy Seukeran, right? Nonprofit organization, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Life Coach in Malton, living in Malton. You remember that. I can't rent any of their spaces. The library and Victory Hall, I'm too poor. Oh, all of you, all of you. Just remember this day. You just sit here and remember Jonathan Davis. That's what you're going to do tonight. It's the biggest narcissist in Malton named Amy. Now show them again the video. What happened? The Jonathan Davis shooting. That's the same library. You prove it to me again. You weren't doing things like this to the phone, people's phones. I'm here about you again. You somehow own Malton and what? You still think you can get away doing what? It's called financial abuse. I can't make money from my unit. I can't go rent anywhere to make money. How will I hold my business? I can't get a space in the mall because the same thing. You keep telling me I'm poor. I can't rent a space. So let me hear about your garbage community. What you think is going to happen if it's not all going down the drain? Well, I told you not to drag me with you, right? I have my name, my business, 6 years of what you've been doing. I'm not gonna let Malton do anything now and keep destroying it. If I knew you were doing all that, do you think I would've? Do you hear yourself? They want competition. You had nothing in Malton. All of a sudden, you want competition with who? I want you to explain why you're teaching inclusion to people. The same Malton moms, the same Malton Neighborhood Services, the same exact organizations. Explain to me why. Do you have any idea how many messages I got about being brown garbage? You're gonna sit here and look at me? Living in Malton, walking around Malton. You have businesses you want people to go to? You want people to support what? Which one of you? How many of you in Malton go to the food bank? How many of you in Malton pay rent? How many of you cook? You're teaching life skills in the school, right? Where'd you get all that from? Do you remember that all of a sudden? Budgeting and finance. So where'd you get all that from? Okay, where do you look for employment in Malton? There aren't many stores, right? The mall. There's not many places that you can apply because they don't really hire. It's not like there are big stores like Walmart where they hire lots and lots of people. They're small stores. So where do you look for employment in Malton? If you can't find full-time jobs, your future is finding a house, right? Buying a house in Malton, getting a car, which one? So if you can't find a full-time stable job, how is that going to work out? Yeah, everybody, all ages. When I stayed in Cawthra Shelter, that was Mississauga. When I stayed at Allen House, that was downtown Brampton. When I was in the rental house, the shared rental, that was Bramalea. Why they keep calling my phone? Why didn't you let me know why you keep calling my phone? 1-807-356-6283. Why do you keep calling my phone? Do you want the police to come? Do you want me to come and get your phone? We're gonna start with the 4 buildings. It must be somebody, right? Better not be somebody under my window, outside my window. Yeah, they're laughing? Just make sure you go and show them, everybody in Malton tomorrow. Yeah, they're playing, right? Every single one. They have wives and girlfriends and husbands somewhere, right? Boyfriends. They're playing on my phone doing what? Then when they turn up in the bushes, right? You're gonna call who? 911? Let me hear why. When it's your daughter that turns up in the bushes, what are you gonna do? Say what? Six 250 5963. When they show up in the creek, like I said, right? When they call the fire truck to drag them out of the creek. Do you remember that day? When the fire trucks were there for hours and hours on the other side of the building? What were they doing in the creek? They were testing creek water? The fire truck? It was stuck? Remember that day? The whole building. Let's remember that day. Well, speaking of the letter, what is it? 152. That's a townhouse? What building do you think that's in? Is something wrong with it? Why does it keep calling my phone? They don't understand. I'm a single female living in an apartment building in my own apartment. Why shouldn't these people be in jail? How do you not understand this? In what world? Yeah, again, let's go over all these services are what? Doing what? Help me explain, help me understand this. I should answer the phone so they stop calling. I should answer the phone so they stop calling. They're gonna stop calling if I do this? Maybe they'll hear themselves. Let's see if they stop calling. They want to understand where they are. Building 2, right? We're in building 1. Every single tenant, everyone in the parking lot, and everyone in building 2, right? They don't understand where they are. They don't understand. They're an abuser. All of Malton. Just show them tomorrow, right? Watch and show everybody, all your friends tomorrow. Yeah, they have a lease here, right? They're letting strangers in. They're drinking in here. They're smoking up all over the building. You calling my name, my business. I'm recording their children. Outside this window? Which one? Which window again? Show us again. Which window? So everybody in Malton can make sure when they see those children. Should we talk about entrapment? Intimidation? Human trafficking? Yeah, let's go over your daughters again. What's gonna happen when they move out on their own in Malton? Let's talk about gangs and who they hang out. Peer pressure, how about that one? How old are your kids now? Since, I'm the bad person recording them. Let's go over it. Because you guys are the perfect parents. Do you babysit your own kids? Do you send them to a babysitting service? One of the places in Malton? Do you work all day? Or are you with them? Then what do? They hang out with friends? What kind of friends do they have? Do you know who their friends are? Where do they hang out? At your house or somewhere else? Do they ever go to a community center? Do you know if they have access to alcohol there? They have all kinds of events, right? Like you mentioned. So all kinds of alcohol running through there. So, have you ever been there and seen them? Have your kids ever gone? So how would you know if they ever had access to drugs and alcohol there at the community center and library in Malton? If you're going to show all your friends, right, you might as well include everybody, everywhere. Aren't those all the recreational programs? All geared toward children? Isn't that the community center supposed to be public for everybody? The library is supposed to be for everybody, right? So let's go for it. Where do your kids hang out? What do they do? Do they go to McDonald's? Do they go skating? What do they do for fun? Do you take them places? Where do you take them? Do you drive them? Do you go on the bus? Do you walk there? Where do you go for fun? Sure. Do you cook for your children? Or do you give them fast food? Do your kids walk to school or do you drive them? What do they do on the weekends? Do they ever stay at friends' houses? Or nobody does that anymore because it's too dangerous? Do they have sleepovers? Do your kids swear? What's the youngest kid you know that swears? Do you know kids that are aggressive? That scream and yell? Do you know kids that are violent? What about their future when they start dating? What do you think's gonna happen? Do you think it'd be easy for the girls, for guys to intimidate and threaten them, give them alcohol and drugs? Well, let's look around Malta now. What happens? Have you ever seen people drinking? When they drink, what happens to them? And what about drugs? When they do drugs, have you ever seen what happens to them? What about Mary Jane? Have you ever seen what happens to them when they smoke Mary Jane? Okay, what about when they're mad now? What happens to them when they're mad? Why is it still going? Mm. 647-250-5963. Why are you still calling my phone? They who? Do you want to go tell the police, report everybody in the building, every tenant, for human trafficking? What are you doing? How is this not harassment and threat and intimidation? We'll explain it right now. Do you know whose phone number that is? Somebody want to call it and see who it is? Somebody's going to call it and see who it is. Anyway, back to harassment, intimidation, and threats in your own apartment. What to do about it. The door is still broken. So it's not like the key works on this side, right? My side. Maybe the front entrance. That still has a key, right? And a lock. Let's talk about all the housing the homeless people want to look into. Where are they going to get that housing? If you're not safe here, where they're all victims, right? So where are they going to go get housing if this is not safe here? Let's talk about a narcissist who needs control. Do you know anybody who needs control of everything? Somebody who always has to look good for everybody? They always have to put on a good show. They always have to look good for everybody. That's controlling the narrative, right? They always need to put on a good show. They don't want anybody to see what they're really like. That's where the abuse behind closed doors comes in. Because they can't keep up the appearances. Eventually they crack. The mask falls. You ever hear that one? Eventually the mask will fall. The mask will drop. They can't be nice, nice, nice for too long.
Hello. Do you want this fresh pack and crack I just cooked up for you, Amy? It's your dealer. I just cooked up a batch of crack for you, Amy. You're coming over to buy some crack for me. I said I just cooked up some crack for you, Amy. Do you want some of that fresh crack I just made for you? That crack you were asking me about, I just cooked
Let's
it
hope
up.
voice recognition works.
Make some crack with me, please.
Congratulations, Molten. I pay good money for rent. Right? I'm poor. This is what I have to live with. They have phones. They're actually able to have phones, cell phones. This is what they do with them. Can you imagine what else they do with their day? Well, since they knew my name, I would say the police should know. 647-250-5963. Yeah, I need the address now of who it is and where they are. Well, they just admitted to being a dealer, right? So what do you want me to do? Well, let's go back to the false calls. Same building, same tenants, right? Same Malton, right? That's here. I spent the night in jail. How many of you have ever spent the night in jail? Sure, let's start with the men first. Everybody's going to ask tomorrow. It's going to be the hot topic as soon as you wake up. I'm going to do a poll. How many of you have ever been to jail? Been arrested, whichever. Now, how about the hospital, the psychiatric ward? How about for addiction, including alcohol? Well, where else if it's not a hospital? Where else do you go for treatment? What if that was a coworker of yours and they did that at work? What would happen? What if that was your babysitter you hired and you didn't know and they did that when you weren't home? Yeah, sure, let's go over. What if that's a parent? Anybody have leftover turkey? What'd you make with it? Since I'm so poor, I want to go through this whole building one by one and what your job is and how much you make, especially the ones with children. I'm going to enjoy it now, I told you. What time they get up in the morning, I'm going to start watching all of you when I sit on the rock in the morning when school bus comes, right? To make sure and see where the parents actually come out and drop the children. All the mouth, I told you, right? You're talking about me. Do you smoke around your kids? People who smoke. Was that ever a consideration? Did you leave the room, go outside when you had kids? Did you smoke in the house with them? What about Mary Jane? Same question. Did you smoke around them or did you go outside, smoke separately when you had kids? What about drinking? Did you ever drink around your kids? All of Malton, right? Sure, worldwide. We don't consider Malton because I don't live here. I should say something else. So, what's going to happen in the future? People want to get married and have kids? Is that not a thing, getting married long term anymore? Do you just have kids? Nobody has kids? Nobody wants kids? Just careers and money? We went over that, right? The parents were at work all day. The kids were at school. They don't spend time. That's how you needed to teach. Remember, you needed family time. You never spent time together. Why are you laughing? When you threw money at them, remember that? You just gave them money. And this is why nobody has any value, nobody has any feelings, nobody has any attachment to anything. When those are the kids that what? Already went to college? Well, why did they introduce Family Day? You got the day off to spend more time with your family. Why? Because everybody was too busy. Remember that? When they had quick meals and all that quick, 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 because nobody had time. Everybody wanted to make money. So the kids were all in daycare. Well, maybe the kids will answer more honestly. Depends how old they are now, right? You were just counting 6 years? Okay, here's a question for everybody. Do you know a lot about your parents? Do you have a lot of conversations with them? Do you talk a lot to them? How many hours would you say you talk to your parents a day? Oh, I'm going to find whose phone that is. Don't worry. Just keep calling it. I have 3 kids at home. I'm a single mom in my own apartment raising these boys after my narcissistic ex left us alone. Yeah, kind of the same thing, right? Boys, you don't want them to grow up if your narcissist, your ex was a narcissist, right? The children are children. They learn what you teach them. So, I don't know, is it harder having boys? Would it be easier if it was girls? Because it's the same thing with my nephews, right? Who are they going to model themselves after? What men? If a narcissist has no feelings, is a cold, heartless person, do you think they'd make a good father? They'd probably teach their sons bad things, right? Competition and jealousy or violence and who knows what else. So, in reality, who would you choose as a male role model for your kids? You? Because you trust yourself, the mother, the single mother? Well, if narcissism runs in the community, and these men get into groups and hang out with each other, what do you think they teach each other? Much less their children or the generations of kids. If they're teachers in the school or counselors in the schools, if they're in the community center, what do you think they're teaching the kids, whether they know it or not? I told you half a year. If I had my option, you wouldn't have a phone in Malton. You're adults and you can't use one. What do you think your kids are going to do with them? Do what you gotta do. Right? Remember that one? Well, let's talk about if you're married, the money. Who has control of the money again? Do we have joint accounts or separate accounts? All the people who have money who keep calling me poor, let's hear. Well, everybody would like all this money, right? If they're homeless people, then there must be extra money floating around if you have so much excess. Or are there people looking for jobs if there's so much money floating around? I'm 2 steps from homeless. Please, I could really use your support. Okay, let's go over. How do you end up homeless? The police were called on me, right? And I had no contact, so I couldn't come back to the house. How do you end up homeless? You get kicked out? You leave? You can't pay your rent? Which one? Would you ever offer your couch to a person in need? Do you understand? When I moved in, this is what's happened to me inside this building. You want me to let a stranger in my house? Then let them sleep over. You the one who keeps saying, right, good intentions? Why don't they have the community center room for you to sleep in? Why don't they have Victory open for you to sleep in? If all you need is a couch to sleep on. Yeah, let me hear this. Why they don't put beds and cots, like I said. You remember when I was going to do all that? Help for the homeless? So at Victory Hall, they had it every night. You take your same sleeping bags. Weren't Peel Outreach giving you sleeping bags? So the same thing, right, with the community center. You can't go in there and sleep in a sleeping bag, but you want people to offer you a couch in their house? Why didn't you explain that and be clear? At least you would be inside out of the cold, right? And you'd have a bathroom to use. So explain why that can't happen. Why it didn't happen in 6 years of homelessness in Malton. Yeah, I'll post the Canva again later so you can remind yourself. What are homeless supports in Malton? Let me hear, what are they? Who do you call? Well, if you're homeless, how many hours of sleep do you need? Probably not 8, right? If you're homeless, you could probably live off of less. I have no idea why they're laughing. Let's hear. If you're homeless, how many hours of sleep do you need? The question is, why doesn't the Malton Community Center or Victory Hall have any of those places open during the winter months for homeless people? Why haven't they done anything like that before, where they can go and sleep? If Peel Outreach was handing out sleeping bags. 6 years, that's my question. It's my friend. Can't see him. He's gonna run the live stream like he said to. Oh, look what you did. He doesn't bite. It says, Amy, there's a spider crawling on your window. Be careful. Did they fix the community center? Speaking of that, did they fix the big hole? Did they fill it up so children can go there and play now? They can have lots of events? Which one? No, I'm not joking. I would like to go sit there like I used to do. That nice open space they had where people could go sit on benches. Isn't that what a community center's for? So is that fixed? Is it going to be fixed soon? I stopped reading all the updates and things I used to read because you seem to destroy everything. Do you have any hidden talents, Amy? Maybe singing or bobbing for apples? Yeah, I'm going to hold a bobbing for apples in the creek soon. Look out for that event. It'll be open to the public. Right on the trail here. They like talking about people's holes. So do you think once they get sick of girls, they'll have to use each other's holes? If none are tight enough for them. I'm going to live stream, Milton. Enjoy your night. Oh yeah, Amy Seukeran, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Life Coach, Canada.